I've trusted K&N on all of my vehicles, but is their next-gen cold air intake really worth the upgrade? What is going on, guys? Scott here from Horizon Bound. So today we are installing the next-gen cold air intake from K&N into my Tacoma. Now, like I said earlier, I've been using K&N air filters and oil filters in all of my vehicles since pretty much when I started driving. I even had their oil filter in my Yamaha R1 when I used to ride bikes. So I've trusted them for a long time. So when they reached out and asked if I'd be interested in installing and reviewing their next-gen cold air intake, I was pretty stoked. They even sent me a little swag bag care package, so shout out K&N, thank you guys so much, and I'm really looking forward to putting the next-gen cold air intake into the Tacoma. Now, like I said, K&N did send me this next-gen cold air intake for free in exchange for some content. So this is a sponsored video. I want to be completely transparent with you guys, but just like all of my other install videos and review videos, I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm going to be completely upfront, brutally honest, and in the end, I'm going to tell you whether I think that this mod is worth it for you guys. Is it an upgrade that you guys should add to your truck? I'm going to be doing some comparisons as far as, sound and performance from the OEM air intake to the next-gen cold air intake. I won't have it hooked up to any machines or anything, so I can't get you, exact numbers or anything, but I can at least tell you guys what I think about as far as the handling goes. I know that Runnin' for Tacos did their own tests with the new next-gen cold air intake, and you can go check that out. And they said that they saw significant improvement in horsepower and, response time. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll let you guys know if I notice it. But for now, let's go ahead and talk about why you would want to add a next-gen cold air intake or any cold air intake for that fact. Now, the OEM air intake is good. It's designed to be quiet, efficient, emissions friendly, and that's all nice, but it is somewhat restrictive when it comes to airflow. Now, K&N's cold air intake is designed to let the engine breathe a little bit more freely, and that's going to improve your throttle response and give you a boost in horsepower. Secondly, cooler air, better performance. The next-gen cold air intake draws cooler air from outside of the engine bay, and it uses it for combustion. So more air and more fuel equals better performance. So if you're off-roading or towing, that extra bit of performance is going to be a huge difference. Thirdly is reusable air filters. Now, if you're like me and you go off-roading or overlanding in dusty, dirty environments, you're probably going to need to change your OEM air filter every 10,000 miles or so. The amount of dust and debris that builds up on that air filter is going to restrict even more how much air gets to that engine. So you're going to notice it in your throttle, you're going to notice it in your horsepower. Where if you have a K&N air filter, it doesn't even need to be their cold air intake air filters. If you get the square ones that just sit there, replace the OEM one, having a reusable K&N air filter is going to be a game changer. All you have to do is just hose it down after your trip, let it dry, put it back in, and it's good to go. So, saving money, might as well. Also, it just looks better. That K&N red, and if you have their new next-gen cold air intake, you get a little plastic, trim right here, an orange and a red that I plan on putting on this guy. It just makes it look even better. So if you like to kind of show off the engine, if you go to events or whatever, having that, it's going to be a little talking point too. So reusable air filters. And lastly, I think the main reason I'm looking forward to adding K&N's next-gen cold air intake to the Tacoma is the engine sound. It's going to add a throatier, more aggressive sound when accelerating. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm going to go ahead and do some comparisons showing how it sounds with the OEM air intake, a cold start, revving up to about 3,000 RPMs, and then driving around the town and going about 50 miles per hour or so. And then I'll compare it to doing the same exact thing with the next-gen cold air intake. And I think you guys are going to be pretty impressed. So enough of that, let's get into the install. All right, let's take a look at what comes in the box when you pick up the K&N NextGen cold air intake for your Tacoma. First up, you have your air box. Then your air filter, your intake tube, some couplers, hose clamps, mounting hardware, and the mass airflow sensor adapter with gasket and screws. All right, so I'm a little nervous right off the bat because I have the ARB twin air compressor right there, and it's already pretty snug to my OEM air intake. And as long as the new one doesn't come up to, here, I should be okay. So we're about to find out. All right, so first off, let's disconnect the negative battery cable from the battery. We are working with some electronic sensors. I don't want to damage anything, so better safe than sorry. Just put it off to the side. Now, let's go ahead and remove the engine cover. All you do is simply pull up and it will snap out. There's a little hook right there that kind of sits in, and easy as that, putting it back on to take it off and pull out. The next step is to squeeze the spring clamp and pull the crankcase vent hose from the factory intake tube. Next, we're going to loosen the clamp that is holding the intake tube to the throttle body. Next, we're going to disconnect the mass airflow sensor as well as unclip the harness from the air filter housing. Like that. And push down and pull. Next, we're going to release these two clips and pull out the entire air intake housing. I did forget to mention there's one more clip right here that we need to disconnect. If you use a 10mm socket and put it on top of it, you can push it straight on through. And now you can take out your housing. We're going to move the mass airflow sensor off to the side. And what did I tell you guys? K&N filters and everything. Here is the K&N Air Filter, and if you look down there, I actually have my K&N oil filter in the Tacoma. This thing is still good. I'm not going to throw it away. It's dirty, it's dusty, it's seen some use. I think it's only got about 30,000 miles on it. So still a lot of use in this bad boy. So rather than throw it away, I'm gonna hose it down, clean it off, and the first person to DM me on Instagram asking for it, I'm gonna send it over to you, because why throw it away? It's still good. And some of you guys may be rocking an OEM filter and need a new one. So DM me, Be Horizon Bound on Instagram, and I'm gonna send this to you. All right, the next step is to remove the bottom filter housing. And to do that, you take out this bolt, take out that bolt, and then there's a third bolt right down there that I need to take out. I think you can see it, a little dark, but that's the third bolt, and then this guy will come right on out. Now, I'm a little nervous. I don't know if this guy is going to fit in here. Oh, please fit, please fit. It's so close. I think I need to, I see the holes, and I'm kind of lined up, but it's not gonna fit flat on the ground like it's supposed to be because this is in the way. So I need to scoot this back. So let's do that real quick. All right, guys, so I have this scoot back as far as possible. However, I don't know if it's going to work, and that leads me to, you know, what I said at the beginning, the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm going to be completely honest about this review and this install. And unfortunately, this isn't any, you know, anything bad on the K&N products. This is, you know, all that's fine. It's just if you guys are rocking, you know, an air compressor or a dual battery or something back here, this might be a little tricky getting it to fit. So with the OEM air intake, it kind of, you know, it's a large box, but the top kind of tapers up. And so it was just able to clear my compressor unit, and everything worked fine. But with the K&N air box, for the next gen at least, you know, it fits into the hole, and I'm able to get 2 of the 3, you know, bolt patterns lined up. However, only one of them is actually touching the inner fender. The other 2 are off by about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. And so it's unfortunate, but I get it. I don't want to say this is anything bad against K&N. K&N made a awesome product with this airbox. The whole reason of them going from, you know, the other cold air, the original cold air intake, to this newer design is because the other one, you know, it had its little heat shield, but then the rest was kind of open. And what that was doing was allowing a lot of the hot air from the engine to kind of circulate back in. And, you know, obviously this area gets stupid hot. So by adding, you know, kind of walls to this and making it more enclosed, you're only sucking in air from the outside, and all of this stuff for the most part is, you know, being secluded. Obviously, yes, you have this ginormous hole right here, and that's sucking in air from the top, but for the most part it's keeping out a lot of the engine heat. The only thing is this wall is definitely interfering with my compressor. So for now, I think what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and continue on with the install. I'm going to go ahead and put the bolt on this guy and then the other 2 bolts into place. I'm going to tighten them down, but I don't want to over tighten them. And I'm also not wanting this to be a permanent thing, because obviously by having a little bit of you know, play right there, this thing might start vibrating around. I might crack the air box, you know, housing, and, you know, that's not good. So that means that I do need to relocate my compressor somewhere, and I've been talking about it for a while now. I think I'm gonna go ahead and move this guy up to the front. So it's gonna be kind of right here in front of the radiator. I've been wanting to do that for a while for a couple reasons. And I think this is kind of the you know what, pull the trigger, let's do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and order that bracket so that I can mount my air compressor right here. I'm gonna go ahead and continue on with this install. I don't wanna take this off because I do have a trip planned in a couple days, and I need to be able to air up and down. But I also want to, you know, finish this install. So let's go ahead and do this, and I can show you, you know, how the rest goes. But keep in mind, I will be fixing this and relocating my compressor so that this fits flat on the inner fender well. So let's go. So I was only able to get 2 of the 3 bolts in, and technically even that second one wasn't all the way seated, so I'm definitely not wanting to keep it like this for too long. All right, So now we have our filter and the little plastic clips. So me being kind of OCD, I want to make sure the logo's facing up, and then I'm gonna go ahead and just drop in the plastic piece on one of the cleats, and then do the same for the orange, like so. Give a little accent, a little flair. So now let's go ahead and put this into the airbox. So I'm just gonna slide this on in and push it in nice and tight, nice and snug, and then kind of just spin it just a little bit. That looks good like that. Should be nice and snug in there. And then we're gonna put the intake hose here and clamp it on. But for now, let's go ahead and hop over to the intake hose and kind of build out that. All right, guys, so I just realized that I wasn't recording, but the next step is to take your intake tube and thread on your barbed piece right here. You're gonna hand tighten it, and then you're gonna take a 13/16 inch wrench. I didn't have that, so I have my crescent wrench, and you're just gonna tighten it one full revolution. So you don't wanna over tighten this guy, but it needs to be snug. And then you're gonna take your gasket and your adapter, take off the paper part so that the sticky part goes onto the intake tube, put your gasket down, put your adapter onto that, and screw those bolts in, the provided hardware. And then you're gonna take your mass airflow sensor from your old air intake and attach it to this. And then again, using the provided hardware, you're gonna screw those into that. Again, not over tightening, but you know, easy to assemble. Apologize for not recording it. It's stupid hot right now, and I guess I forgot to hit record. So, and let's pause real quick. All right, like I said, it's stupid hot. I wasn't really paying attention to the instructions because, I mean, does anyone? But if you're watching this video, please do me a huge favor. And if you have your mass airflow sensor pointed down like I do in this screenshot, just do me a favor and flip it around. Nothing difficult, just unscrew those two screws and rotate that mass airflow sensor so it's pointed up instead of down. You'll see why in a second. This is what it looks like. The next step is to take your hose and your clamps. And so we're gonna kind of just slide these guys on like so. And actually I'm gonna rotate it around because I want it like that. Nope, I had it right. See, I told you, this heat's really messing with me. So just like that, and then we are going, there's a little bead at the tip of this. So we want to kind of get it up and over that. And just like so. So now that's our intake, and we can kind of rotate it. And then let's go take this guy and put it on the throttle body. All right, so now have all of that put together. Let's go ahead and grab our giant ring that's gonna go onto our air filter and secure it to our intake tube. So let's go and slide that on, and the first thing that we're gonna do is hook it onto, I'm gonna slide this back a little bit. We're gonna shove it into that housing and then position that like so. Then I'm gonna take this guy and scoot it over the throttle body. There, like so. And now we can scoot that forward. Whew, a little tricky, but nothing too difficult. So let's make sure that that is where I want it. And then doing the same for that. Is on. We are good to go. Next, we're going to go ahead and tighten down our clamps. Making sure we don't over tighten, but they're still on nice and snug. Okay, yep, that's on. Can't turn these, so that's nice and tight. Let's do the same for this guy. All right, guys, almost done. So now we're gonna connect our crankcase vent hose back to the barb part and just kind of pinch this and seat it. And then we're gonna take our harness for the mass airflow sensor and we are going to connect it up in here like so.
Whoa, whoa. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
We're good to go. Last but not least, reconnecting our negative battery cable. All right, so let's go ahead and connect you and then tighten you down. All right, I'm not sure what's going on. I just cleaned off the mass airflow sensor, thinking maybe that's something with it. I don't know. I try and start it up and it immediately dies. So, guys, I honestly don't know what the issue is. So, I'm gonna keep working on it and I'll get back to you. Guys, I'm stupid. I'm an idiot. So I took it all apart. I'm like, what the heck is going on? You know, everything's on nice and snug and I'm stupid. I'm an idiot. So I was looking at this, flip this over. So as you can see right here, that's the mass airflow sensor and there's an arrow right there. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's pointing that way. It should be pointing that way towards the throttle body. Air is coming in through here, going into the engine. The air needs to be over there. So this sensor, if you guys are installing it, make sure that this part is pointed up, not down. As you can see right here, I have mine, the arrows backwards. So once I flip it around, the sensor will be pointed up. The air will be coming through the filter, in through the intake tube, and into the throttle body. So let's fix this, and hopefully that solves our issue. Boop. All right, so that's looking better. Arrow in the right direction, going towards the throttle body. So let's put this back together and see what happens. Whew. All right, moment of truth. Got it all put back together. Have the sensor facing the correct orientation. It was hot as hell, so I'm hoping this fixes it so I can get out of the heat because I am dying right now. All right, let's see what happens. Good sign. It's working. Let's come around and take a look. So sucking in air and going into the throttle body. Have the sensor facing the right way now. I am a little, like I said, nervous about this. It's up against the compressor, so I do need to move this guy. I'll put him up there, but for now, It works. It looks good. Thanks for joining me on this overland upgrade. If you're enjoying this video, please do me a huge favor and hit that like button. And while you're at it, be sure to subscribe. For more details about the truck build, some exclusive discounts on some outdoor gear, or maybe to pick up some Horizon Bound merchandise, be sure to head over to BeHorizonBound.com. And for some more daily inspiration, be sure to follow BeHorizonBound on Instagram. All right, let's get back to this upgrade. All right, guys, so that is the install of K&N's NextGen cold air intake, and I think it looks sick. Having that big open window at the top where you can kind of look down on it, having, you know, the red and orange plastic trim that kind of, you know, accents the air filter. I don't know, small little details like that, but it looks really good. But looks aren't everything. That's not enough to go out and buy it. We need to see how is it going to perform, how is it going to sound. Does it make that big of a difference? So I already went out and recorded me driving around with the original air intake, and I'm gonna go ahead and kind of splice back and forth. Let's go ahead and drive the Taco, do a little drive around town. I'll do a cold start right now, and we can kind of see how it sounds, and then I'll rev the engine a couple times, you know, 3,000 RPMs or so, and then we'll go for a drive. And I'm gonna go ahead and put a mic up front on the bumper. I'll put one in the back by the exhaust, and I'll have this guy on me so we can see how it sounds in the cab of the truck. So let's go ahead and do that right now. I got one mic right here. Let's go ahead and hold it, and we're gonna go ahead and put you right there. Boop. And then let's grab the other guy. Let's turn you on and hit record, and clap, clap, clap. All is good. Let's stick it right here. All right, you guys can kind of see it, put it right there. So we should hear what comes out of the exhaust. I don't think it's going to sound any different from the exhaust because all of the action is happening up in the hood, but you never know. Might as well put one back there just in case. And now I'm in the cab, nice and quiet. Let's get this set up. You guys ready? I'll fly in here. There we go. Let's go ahead and give it some. Oh, that's nice. That is aggressive. Okay. Kind of has a little growl at the beginning. And yeah, once you get up, that was about 4,000 RPMs right there. That sounds really good. I'm gonna hold it at about 3 right now. That's about 3,500. In here, I don't know if you guys can tell, we'll see how it sounds on the mics outside, but so far, that's sounding pretty healthy. That's sexy, guys. Let's take it for a drive. All right, 1,500 RPM, let's hit it. Not bad. About 45 miles an hour, hit about 3,500 RPM. Now let's drop it back down. Man. That does really freaking good. Wow. So I am turning onto one of the main roads right here where I can go a little bit faster. Speed limit's 55. So I'm gonna give it some gas. There's about 5,500 RPMs right there. About 4,500 RPMs right there. I'll be honest, guys, I like it. I don't know if the wife's gonna like it. It's pretty loud. It's really loud. I'm really surprised on yeah. It sounds good. It sounds great. But man, that's me on the freeway going about 65, trying to get around some of these slow cars right now. That power is there, dude. Alright guys, well that is a wrap on the install and review of the NextGen cold air intake from K&N, and I'm loving it. Really impressed with how it sounds and how it has given me a boost in horsepower. Not too difficult of an install. You know, obviously you guys just saw I did have a couple little issues. One being that my twin ARB compressor, the dual compressor, was in the way. So where I had it located on the passenger side, it didn't let the airbox seat properly, seat all the way down to the inner fender. So I bought a bracket. I will be relocating it to right in front of the radiator, and then that will allow me to put all 3 bolts into the airbox rather than just the 1.5 that I have right now. So definitely looking forward to finalizing that part of it. No fault of K&N. Obviously, they can't expect to know what everyone has in their truck, but if you guys do have a compressor or a spare battery, something in that corner, just keep in mind you might run into some issues. You might have to do some modifications, but no big deal. And then obviously the second issue was user error. I stupidly put the mass airflow sensor on backwards, so I had the arrow pointed towards the air filter rather than towards the throttle body. So if you're doing the install, just make sure double check the big end. The arrow should be pointing away from it towards the narrow end where the throttle body will connect to it. If you do that properly, shouldn't have any issues. So yeah, like I said, pretty simple install. It took me about 2 hours. If I hadn't had any of those issues, maybe I could have done it in an hour. Definitely something that you guys can do on your own at home. Now, let's talk about why you guys are here. Obviously, you guys probably watched this video because you wanted to see how it sounded, but you also wanted to know, is it worth it? Is this something that you should add to your Tacoma? And my answer, honestly, is yes. This is a huge, huge improvement to my Tacoma, in my opinion. Not only does it sound way better, but I do notice that increase in performance. And K&N actually has a guarantee that you will gain additional horsepower at the wheels. So if you have that K&N guarantee and you need some extra horsepower, might as well. We all know that these Tacomas are pretty slow. They don't have power. They don't have horsepower. They don't have torque. When you hit that gas pedal, it's not like you're speeding off or anything. And then of course, when you add a bunch of weight to it, yeah, that makes it even more slower. So, having you know, the next gen cold air intake in there. I don't know the exact numbers that I'm getting, but between that and the tune, I definitely think that I'm getting way better performance than I did when it was stock. So if you're coming from a stock Tacoma and you want that extra horsepower, yes, absolutely. And if you're, you know, already built like I am and looking for some extra horsepower, the cold air intake mixed with our tunes is a huge game changer. Huge game changer. I will say they do seem to work better if you have a bigger engine. You know, if you've got a V8, they definitely seem to give you a little bit more horsepower compared to, you know, something with the 6-cylinder or 4-cylinder, but still an additional 15 to 20, you know, additional horsepower. Why not, you know? So yeah, I personally do think that it is a worthwhile investment. But I want to know what you guys think. What do you guys think of this mod? Is it something that you would put in your truck? Do you think that that's an overrated mod, or do you think that, hey, as much horsepower, as much additional torque that I can get on this thing, I might as well do it? I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you, K&N, for sending me this next gen cold air intake. I'm already loving it. I just love driving around the city and hearing that growl coming from my truck and having that additional horsepower. It's nice. So thank you for that. Thank you for the merchandise, the swag, all the stuff that you sent me. And thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys liked it, please do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and click that bell icon if you want to be notified when I drop my next video. Thank you guys again. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you on the horizon.